Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're doing something a bit different. We're essentially walking through a super concentrated tech newsletter together.
Yeah, we're looking at Andrew Kagan's technical news you can possibly use from June 6th, 2025. It's a great roundup.
It really is. Pulls from everywhere. Azure, M365, AI, security, the works. So our goal today is simple. Unpack the key updates from this edition for you.
Sort of cut through the noise and highlight what actually matters, right? From cloud platforms to, well, industry trends.
Exactly. It's a snapshot, and we'll try to connect the dots where we can.
Sounds good. It's a smart way to stay current on a lot of moving parts.
Okay, let's jump in. First up, Azure. The newsletter lists the usual Azure update May 30, 2025. Fine. But then this. Introducing Azure MCP Model Control Protocol Server.
Right, MCP Model Control Protocol. That name immediately makes you think AI models, doesn't it?
It does. Controlling models, what does that imply?
Well, managing AI models, deploying them, versioning, maybe controlling how they're served or interact. If Azure's building a specific server type for this, well, that suggests AI operations are getting serious enough to need their own dedicated infrastructure, or maybe even a new standard protocol.
Interesting. So it's not just running AI, but really managing the life cycle.
Precisely. And that points to a growing maturity or complexity in how we handle large-scale AI.
Okay, sticking with Azure infrastructure, there's also the Azure Data Box Next Gen walkthrough.
Oh, yes, Databox, the physical shipping solution for massive data transfers, still very relevant.
People still need to physically ship petabytes.
Oh, absolutely. Think huge migrations, big data analytics, ML training sets. Sometimes network transfer just isn't practical. Seeing a next gen means they're still improving these fundamental tools. It's not all just fancy AI stuff.
Gotcha. And keeping current services updated. Azure Logic Apps live May 2025.
Right, Logic Apps. That's their workflow automation service. This just signals, ongoing development, community engagement. It's still an active, evolving platform.
Now, the Azure section also dives deep into confidential computing. It mentions the Open Confidential Computing Conference 2025.
Yeah, this area is definitely heating up. Confidential computing basically means running code and processing data inside a protected hardware bubble, a trusted execution environment, or TE.
So even the cloud provider can't peek.
That's the idea. Protecting data even while it's being processed, crucial for really sensitive stuff.
And related to that, there's OpenHCL, new open source paravisor. Can you unpack paravisor and why open source matters here?
Sure. So you have a hypervisor managing VMs. A paravisor kind of helps the guest OS inside that VM, especially a confidential one, talk more efficiently to the hardware and hypervisor, making it open source.
Well, that's huge for trust.
Because people can check the code. It's exactly. Auditability, community contributions, avoiding vendor lock-in. When you're talking about the security foundation, open source builds confidence. OpenHCL being open source is a really positive sign for the ecosystem.
And driving home the importance of this whole area, the newsletter flags a confidential computing panel with AMD, Microsoft, Intel, and NVIDIA.
Wow. Okay, yeah. Seeing those names together on one panel, these are major competitors, right?
Yeah.
Hardware giants, cloud leader.
Yeah, that's quite the lineup.
It tells you confidential computing isn't some niche experiment anymore. It's becoming a fundamental part of cloud strategy. They have to collaborate to set standards and ensure hardware support works across the board. It's a collective push.
Okay, let's shift over to Microsoft 365. First item, announcing Windows backup for organizations. Seems straightforward.
On the surface, yeah. Backup for business Windows machines. Makes sense.
But then the very next item listed is titled The Real Motive Behind Windows Backup. That raises an eyebrow.
It does, doesn't it? Just based on that title, you have to wonder, is it just backup utility, or is it maybe about deeper integration with M365, tying storage to OneDrive or SharePoint, maybe enabling smoother device recovery linked to M365 identity?
So potentially more strategic than just a simple feature ad.
It suggests there might be a bigger picture. You'd have to dig deeper, obviously, but the title itself makes you think beyond just the backup function.
Interesting. And for AI users within M365, there's Researcher and Analyst GA in Microsoft 365 Copilot.
GA general availability. That's important. It means these specific Copilot roles, Researcher and Analyst, are now considered ready for prime time, broadly available for licensed users.
What do those roles actually do for someone using, say, Word or Excel?
Well, Researcher likely helps you gather and synthesize info from your documents or the web quickly. Think summarizing long reports or finding key data points. Analyst probably focuses more on data interpretation within Excel, maybe finding trends, generating charts, providing insights. They're basically specialized AI assistants to boost productivity for common knowledge worker tasks.
Got it. Okay, let's move into Power Platform and Dynamics 365. The newsletter points to Build 2025 Dataverse Demos playlist.
Right, Build is Microsoft's big developer conference. So a playlist from Build focused on Dataverse, that's the core data platform under Power Apps, and Dynamics 365 is where you'd see the latest practical examples, how people are actually using it to build apps and solutions.
Real-world stuff. And speaking of users, there's a community AMA, Power Apps May 2025.
AMA's Ask Me Anything sessions. They're vital for platforms like Power Apps, especially with the low-code, no-code audience. It shows they're actively supporting the community, answering questions, keeping users engaged. That's crucial for adoption.
Definitely. And on a very specific practical note, create Word docs with repeating sections in Power Automate Desktop.
That sounds niche, but it's actually super useful. Think generating invoices, reports, contracts, documents where you have tables or lists that change length, like line items.
Right, like order forms.
Exactly. Being able to automate that kind of structured document generation, especially with repeating sections, directly from Power Automate Desktop, that saves a ton of manual work for common business processes. It's a tangible automation win.
Okay, moving into DevOps, SRE, and infrastructure. First, a tool update. PostgreSQL extension for VS Code getting started.
Simple but useful. VS Code is hugely popular. Integrating database tools, like for PostgreSQL, directly into the editor just makes developers more efficient. Less context switching, manage your database alongside your code.
Makes sense. But beyond individual tools, there's this headline that jumped out. Google study, developers lose 65% of time without platforms.
65%? I mean, that number is just wow.
It's staggering, right? Nearly 2/3 of developer time potentially wasted.
Yeah, wasted on things other than actually coding, like wrestling with infrastructure, waiting for builds, searching for documentation, navigating complex tooling. It paints a stark picture.
So what's the implication there?
It's a massive argument for platform engineering. Investing in good internal developer platforms that provide self-service, standardization, automation, it directly addresses that lost time. It frees developers up to actually, develop. That study provides some serious ammo for platform initiatives.
Oh, okay, and here's a link back. Remember that Azure MCP server we talked about?
The model control protocol thing, yeah.
Well, there's an article mentioned here, how I let AI run my front ends with MCP model control protocol servers.
Uh-huh. Okay, now that's interesting context.
Yeah.
So someone is using MCP servers, potentially, to have AI manage or influence their application's front end.
That's what it sounds like. AI run my front ends.
What could that mean? AI personalizing the UI on the fly, optimizing layouts, maybe even dynamically generating parts of the interface based on user context or backend data. It suggests MCP might be the communication channel, allowing AI models to directly instruct or configure the application layer.
That feels pretty futuristic, AI directly shaping the user experience in real time.
It does. It raises questions, too. How much control? What are the failure modes? But it definitely provides a potential and, frankly, quite exciting use case for that MCP concept.
Definitely one to watch. Okay, let's focus on data, analytics, and AI proper. First, a look ahead. What's new in SQL Server 2025?
Yep, SQL Server. Still a workhorse for many organizations. News about the next version is always important for anyone managing data infrastructure. You'll be looking for performance boosts, new security features, maybe deeper AI integrations within the database engine itself.
And Microsoft Fabric is still prominent. We see creating digital twins with Microsoft Fabric.
Fabric is pitched as that all-in-one data platform, right? Integration, warehousing, BI, data science. Digital twins, which are virtual models of real-world things or processes, need data from lots of different places, IoT, business systems, you name it.
So Fabric is positioned to pull all that together.
That's the idea. Its unified architecture is designed to simplify bringing all that disparate data together, making it a natural fit for building those complex digital twin models.
And connecting Fabric to governance. Fabric plus Purview, end-to-end data security tools.
This is critical. Purview is Microsoft's data governance and compliance tool. Think data discovery, classification, policy enforcement. Tightly integrating Purview with Fabric means you can build your analytic solutions and manage the underlying data security and compliance within the same environment.
Building security in from the start.
Exactly. Not treating it as an afterthought, which is increasingly important, especially with privacy regulations.
And more tooling integration. VS Code Live Jupyter Notebooks plus GitHub Copilot. E3.
Yeah, this shows AI assistance weaving its way into data science workflows. Jupyter Notebooks are standard for data exploration, bringing GitHub Copilot, the AI pair programmer, into that environment within VS Code. It just streamlines writing the code for analysis, visualization, building models. AI is a collaborator for data scientists too.
Okay, let's tackle the big one. Security, compliance, and privacy. Lots of interesting items here. First up, Blue Helix, open source agentic OSINT researcher.
Right, let's break that down. OSINT is open source intelligence gathering info from public sources. An agentic researcher suggests an AI agent that can do this autonomously plan, gather, analyze.
An AI spy, basically, but for public info.
Sort of, yeah, but focus on threat intelligence likely. Making it open source, Blue Helix, means the security community can vet it, contribute, build trust. It's fascinating AI being used proactively for intelligence gathering in the security space.
The newsletter also quotes a classic principle. You can't defend what you don't understand.
Absolutely fundamental. Visibility is key. You need to know what assets you have, how traffic flows, what normal looks like.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your defenses are just guesswork. Security starts with understanding your environment.
For the SOC teams, there's CISA releases SOAR and SIEM implementation guidance.
ISA guidance is always worth noting. They're a major authority. SIEM tools collect security logs. SO tools help automate incident response. They're complex systems. Getting implementation guidance from CISA helps organizations use these tools effectively, improving their detection and response maturity.
Good practical advice. And on the compliance side, Purview eDiscovery Premium UX Update.
E-discovery finding and producing electronic data for legal or regulatory reasons. It can be a real pain point. Improving the user experience, UX, for Purview's premium e-discovery tools. Well, that makes life easier for legal and compliance teams. Efficiency matters there.
Definitely. Then there's Woodpecker, red teaming for AI, Kubernetes, and APIs.
Red teaming means simulating attacks to test defenses. The targets here, AI, Kubernetes, APIs, tell you where attackers are focusing. Modern cloud-native apps rely heavily on these. So security testing needs to evolve to cover these newer attack surfaces, not just traditional networks.
Makes sense. Attackers go where the value is. Now, a big architectural shift. ZTNA. Replace your legacy VPN.
ZTNA, Zero Trust Network Access. This is a major trend, moving away from the old VPN model of connect to the network, then access everything.
So no more wide open access once you're in?
Exactly. Zero trust means you don't trust anyone by default, inside or outside. Access is granted to specific apps, narrowly, based on verified identity, device health, context. It's much more granular and generally seen as more secure for today's distributed workforce and cloud apps.
Got it. The newsletter also touches on Shadow IT 2.0, managing OAuth risks.
Shadow IT isn't just people using unapproved apps anymore. This 2.0 refers to the risks from approved third-party apps that connect to your corporate data using protocols like OAuth. You know, when you click allow for an app to access your calendar or files.
Ah, those permission grants.
Right. If those oath-worth permissions are misconfigured or too broad, they can create hidden backdoors or data leakage risks that IT might not even track easily. It's a subtle but significant modern risk.
Oh, and a really concrete takeaway next, the 3-2-1-1 backup strategy in cybersecurity.
Yeah, this is excellent practical advice, especially against ransomware. It stands for 3 copies of your data on 2 different types of media with 1 copy offsite. Then the extra 1 is for having 1 copy be immutable, unchangeable, which is key against attackers trying to encrypt or delete backups. And the 0 means 0 errors after testing your restores.
So 3 copies, 2 media, 1 offsite, 1 immutable, 0 errors.
That's the gold standard. If you follow that, your data is pretty resilient.
Good rule to remember. Lastly, in security, a webinar, Control Theory plus AI in Cybersecurity. Sounds advanced.
It does. Control theory comes from engineering managing dynamic systems. Applying it with AI to cybersecurity suggests moving towards more adaptive self-healing defenses. Instead of just reacting, you'd try to proactively maintain a secure state, automatically correcting deviations. Think like an immune system for your network. It's a glimpse into more sophisticated, automated security futures.
Very interesting. Okay, let's shift to learning and certifications. Resources for staying sharp. One is Quantum Computing, explained by a retired Microsoft engineer.
Quantum is tough to grasp. Having it explained by someone potentially with practical insight, not just pure theory, could make it much more accessible. Good find for anyone curious about that field.
And a hands-on guide. Set up OpenID Connect in Entra External ID.
Very practical. Entra External ID handles identity for customers, partners, external users. OpenID Connect is the standard protocol for letting users sign in using identities from elsewhere, like Google or Microsoft itself. This guide helps developers implement that secure login flow.
And connecting back to AI, there's the Agentic AI Handbook Beginner's Guide.
Timely. We mentioned agentic AI with Blue Helix. This handbook suggests the concept AI that can plan and act autonomously is becoming more mainstream, something developers can start learning about now. It provides that entry point.
All right, let's wrap up with broader industry news and trends. Quantum computing keeps popping up.
Yeah, we see tracking the cost of quantum factoring, Google, that points to work on practical algorithms. Then Colorado's Quantum Tech Hub teams with IBM that shows ecosystem building. And Quantum Startup Challenges traditional HPC that signals potential disruption in high-performance computing.
So it's moving beyond just research labs.
Slowly, yes, towards specific applications in industry formation, though it's still early days for widespread impact.
A more immediate impact is the AI data center race heats up.
No surprise there. The demand for compute power for AI training and inference is just astronomical. It's driving huge investments in building out data centers packed with specialized hardware. It's the physical foundation of the AI boom.
And a key player in that hardware is NVIDIA. The newsletter mentions NVIDIA earnings, China, Blackwell, cloud.
Right. NVIDIA's results are a barometer for the AI hardware market. How they're doing in China, how the rollout of their new Blackwell chips is going, and how much the big cloud providers are buying these factors tell you a lot about the speed and scale of AI infrastructure growth.
But it's not all progress and growth. A concerning security trend. Stealth backdoors, target ASUS routers.
Yeah, a reminder that threats hit everywhere, including consumer hardware like routers. Sophisticated attacks targeting home or small business networks are a real danger. Patching and basic security hygiene remain crucial even outside the enterprise.
Definitely. And finally, a headline that really makes you think, vibe coding. Will AI replace programmers?
Vibe coding. That phrase itself is provocative, isn't it? It suggests interacting with code creation at a higher, more intuitive level, telling the AI the vibe or intent, maybe.
So will AI replace programmers?
It's the million-dollar question. I think it's more likely to change the role. Automate some tasks, yes. But replace human creativity, complex problem-solving, architectural thinking. Probably not entirely. The programmer might become more of an AI director, a prompter, a debugger of AI-generated code.
More like conducting an orchestra than playing every instrument.
That's a good analogy. It's about how the human role evolves alongside the tools.
Wow. Okay, we covered a lot from just that one newsletter issue, from deep Azure tech like MCP and confidential computing, through M365 updates, platform engineering stats, all the way to AI agents and security, and the future of coding itself.
It really does show you how much is happening across the board and how interconnected it all is. You see AI threads running through almost every section. Getting this kind of curated summary is, well, incredibly helpful for perspective.
Absolutely. It helps cut through the sheer volume of news. And thinking about those AI threads, as we see AI impacting development, infrastructure, security tools, and even how we back up data, maybe the final thought for you, the listener, is this. How do you see this blend of human skill and AI capability reshaping your specific technical role or the roles on your team in the next 6 to 12 months? Something to chew on.